so this is Nearpod 201. And today we're going to talk about planning, editing, and creating lessons in Nearpod. If you were not here for Nearpod 101, that's fine. That's okay. There is a video recording of that training, and it's in the Teaching and Learning Toolkit under Nearpod. So you can watch that if you want to at a later time. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, so what I want you guys to do first, I'm going to move my little toolbar there. First thing I want you guys to do is to, if you have a second device and you're zooming on one and you're going to participate in the Nearpod on a second device, then I want you to go to nearpod.com on that second, or join.nearpod.com on that second device, and you're going to enter this code because you're going to be a student in that Nearpod, just like we did last time. So if you have a second device, it's pretty straightforward. You go to join.nearpod.com, you put in this code, put in your name, and you will join the Nearpod. Now, if you are using just like your MacBook and you're going to do a split screen, you're going to want to have your Zoom on this one side, and then you're going to want to have your Nearpod on the other. And so I'm going to take this code off just for a second and I'll get back to it. If you need it while I'm doing this demo, it's right up here in the left-hand corner. But if you need to do that split screen on your MacBook and you're not quite sure how to do it, what I would do is come up here. Now I'm in Google Chrome right here. And so mine looks like this. I would just open a new tab right here. If you're in Safari, it's going to be over, I think I have my Safari. If it's in Safari, then it's going to be over here on this plus right here. So it's a little bit different depending on what browser you're in, but you're going to make a new tab. And then what I want you to do is you're going to take this tab and you're going to hold on to it and you're going to detach it. You're going to pull it straight down. So now what I'm creating is two different windows. I have a window over here for my Zoom, and then I have this one here. And this is where I would type in join.nearpod.com. And I would type in this code PWHJ2. And then to split your screen, because I've got these two windows here, if I just hover over this green dot here, I can tile my window over to the right or the left. But if I tile it over to the right there, then you're going to see I have two screens. So I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and set yourself up. I'm going to close this guy because I already have it open on here. Give you a moment to go ahead and join the Nearpod, whichever way works best for you. If you have any troubles, go ahead and either to shout it out or type it in the chat. And Carrie's manning the chat tonight, so she can help you do that as well. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes here. Well, more like a couple seconds. And what's really cool here with Nearpod is I can look down here at the bottom and see I have 12 people in here right now. And so if I look at how many people I have in my Zoom right now, I have 16. So that tells me I've got a few people that aren't quite in there yet. So I'm going to keep waiting. Here's the code again. I want to make sure everybody gets in. So tonight's going to be really fun because we're going to go through that planning and editing and creating these activities for your students. The first part of it, we're going to go through and I'm going to demo some things for you. And then I'm going to have you sign into your Nearpod account so that you can go in and start playing in there and making some lessons and adding some activities. So we're going to kind of go back and forth. So when we get to that part, I'll show you how to open up another tab so you can log in as a teacher. Okay, so I'm going to come back here. I've got 14 in here, and I think that Carrie and I might be the other two people that aren't in there, so that's fine because we're using it this way. Okay, awesome. So now, one thing I want you to notice, and we kind of did this last time, but I'm just going to do a quick review with you, is that my view is this is the teacher view, and then I also have this student view over here. So I'm going to toggle back and forth so you can kind of see the difference. This first slide, it looks exactly the same, so it's no big deal. And a couple of things on here, just a quick review. Up in the top left is always your code. If you want to pop it out for students to see it, you can do that. And then you just exit out right there. Over in the top right over here, I can add an activity on the fly. I can also look at the student view real quick just to kind of see what that looks like. Down here, again, I have how many people are in this, and I can click on this to see how many people, who's in here right now. And if anybody's having any issues with connecting right now, it could be the person that's in red. So you want to keep an eye on that. This down here shows you your slides. So I can click here and I can look at all my different slides that I have. And then again, at the very bottom is hiding those student names. So if you're doing an activity where you really want to get 100% participation, you know you've got those kids that are really shy, or it's just confidential data that you're trying to collect from the kids, you can go ahead and hide the student names. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now as we get started to go. So is everybody ready? Carrie, is there any issues right off the top, or can I jump right in?
I think you're good to go.
Awesome. Okay, so our learning objectives today. When you leave here, you'll be able to edit and create a Nearpod lesson, integrating those different activities and participation strategies. And you'll understand how to get into that Nearpod library, and also how to share lessons with students, either as an in-person or in a hybrid or distance environment. And then we have our TPEP alignment criterion 2 is demonstrating those effective teacher practices. And 3 is recognizing individual student learning needs. And we're going to really look at that a lot today. And then 6 is using multiple student data points. So that is our goal for the day. If you want to take notes during this session, you're welcome to do so. You simply click on the little notepad icon. I'm going to come over to my student view. So you'll have this icon over here. If you click on this and choose to either save your notes to your drive or email, I usually do my email. So I would type in my email and hit send. Now you'll see that when I start typing my notes in here, it's going to have an image of the slide and my notes. So if you want to do that during this training, you can. You don't have to, but it's just kind of a nice little tool to be able to share with your students as well. Okay, oops, I'm going to go back to my teacher view. And if you were here for session 1, then you saw this overview. I'm going to just quickly go through this overview because I think we have a few people joining us for the first time, and it's always good just to kind of review. So Nearpod, you can download and customize lessons and videos that are already in the library. You can create interactive lessons using the materials that you already have, and it's really quick to do that. You can collect different assessment data And you can also get that 100% participation. Like I said, you can hide student names, or you can have students participate in a self-paced lesson where you are just receiving that data yourself. It's not being shared with the other students. And so this slide right here is interactive. So if you wanted to learn any of these content tools here, you can click on these and it'll take you right out to that tool and show you how to do this. So that's kind of a handy thing to know that you have that at your fingertips there. And so you also have the different activities here as well. And then remember, we can do synchronous or asynchronous lessons with this. So we can do live lessons, which would be our synchronous like we're doing right now, or asynchronous, which is super handy, you know, because we have kids sometimes that can't be there for our synchronous lessons, or, you know, even just if you want to differentiate, you can have two different Nearpods that are very similar, but you have different support structures in one of them, and that's the one you assign to certain kids, and then the other one is for kids who might need a faster pace. So you can use it that way as well, which is kind of handy. You know, when you launch a self-paced lesson, you still get that data from the student work. So that's kind of nice to have for kids that are working at home and they're not joining you live. I'm going to skip the next couple ones because we don't need to look at that. Okay. So I have just pushed out a little poll to you. I want to see what your Nearpod knowledge is by finishing this sentence. I know how to, and then I want you to go ahead and select all that apply to you. So on your screen, you're actually seeing this poll here. And on my screen as the teacher, I'm going to start to watch the data come in. And I hid the names, so there's not going to be any judgment here. So go ahead and finish the sentence and check all that apply to you. So it's really nice as the teacher when I'm looking at this live data coming in, you know, I can adjust my lessons on the fly. So I see that pretty much everybody knows how to do this, to find a lesson in the Nearpod library. So as the teacher, I wouldn't have to spend a lot of time on that one. But maybe when I start to look over here, like it towards E, which is make a lesson from scratch, you know, I might want to spend some more time on this because I see that a lot of my students here don't quite know how to do that. And so that's good news for today because we're going to actually spend time doing that. So thank you for taking that poll. I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. And you know what I need to do right here is I'm going to stop that video real quick and get that out of the way for me. Okay. Okay, so now I am going to do this collaborate board with you right now. You see my screen again. We did this last week, but it's a quick overview that this is going to ask me as the teacher if I want to approve all the posts before they go out. You probably want to do that at least the first few times that you use this with kids. You can also apply it for the rest of the session. Right now you're adult, so I'm going to hit no on that. And what I want you to do is go ahead and post for me here. What are some digital tools that you're using to support student learning right now? And so on your student view, it looks like this, and you would come in here and you go ahead and type your answer, and then you click on post. And we should start to see posts coming in here. So go ahead and take a minute. Nice. Google Classroom, of course. Study Sync, like to always see our Study Sync and Go Math and those, because that's our curriculum. Padlet is an awesome tool. I love the bookshelf feature in Padlet. It's really cool if you've ever seen that before. So yeah, so we have a lot of different tools in here. And what's really cool is that I wanted to push this out to you because you're already using a lot of digital tools and we're using our core curriculums. And what's really cool is you can use this stuff directly in Nearpod. And so, think about like a screencastify video that you make. You can add that as web content in your Nearpod. So if you make a screencastify video about how to do something, I can upload that as web content into my Nearpod. If you use something like Kahoot, it's the same kind of thing. You can add it as web content, or there's a feature in Nearpod that's called Time to Climb, which is kind of a question challenge thing. So you could take your Kahoot and turn it into a time to climb. Or even like that Padlet. So, like right now we're using this Collaborate board and it's really handy and it's a great tool to use. But like I said, there's like this shelf feature in Padlet if you've ever used it, which you can't really do in this Collaborate board. But what I can do is I can link a Padlet into my Nearpod and use that feature if that's something I want to use. So it's really nice. There's a lot of different tools that you guys are using and you can integrate it into your Nearpod. Okay, so we are going to jump right in and start looking at creating Nearpods. So there's 3 easy steps. You can use materials that you already have, and then you can take those materials and bring it to life by adding engaging content and activities. The content is engaging, and the activities will give you some of that assessment data that you're looking for. All right, so we're going to start planning. So what I want you guys to do first is to get signed into your account. And so to do that, right now you're in that join.nearpod.com because you are in as a student in this lesson right now. But what I want you to do is I want you to open another browser window and sign in with your account. And so to do that, you're going to go to nearpod.com. And I'm going to sign out. I'm sure I'm signed in right here. So I'm going to sign out real quick. To make sure that you guys know how to sign in. I think you've all done it, but let's just make sure. I'm going to log out right here out of this screen. Hopefully it doesn't mess everything up. But you go to the login up here, and then you're going to use the Google single sign-on, which is right here, log in with Google. Okay, so I want to get everybody signed in to their Teacher Nearpod account so that you will have your, oh no. So I have, you guys are seeing the student view, and then you will also should be able to log into your library right here. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to do that. Let us know if you have any trouble with that. I want to make sure everybody's in. While you're doing that, I'm going to go back in and join this one as a student really quick. So I have that view as well. So just give me a second here. Is there anyone that's having trouble logging into their Nearpod account? Let Carrie know. Raise your hand. Okay. I'm going to assume everyone's in. Carrie, what do you think? Are we good?
I don't see anybody that has any problems.
Okay. Now, the reason we're doing this is because I'm going to have you toggle back and forth. So you're going to be, watching from your student view, and then you're also going to be going to your account as well. So it's a lot of navigation here. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to do, I want you guys to go into your login account. And last time we met, I wanted to show you this feature, but I didn't quite have the time to do it. And so if you all have your screen up, like me, like I'm in my library here, I want you to come up to your profile. So it's over on the top right. And click on that. And I want you to go to lesson settings. Now it might pop up as your profile over here on the left side as a gray box. I want you to go to the advanced. If you have any problems as you're going along, just let us know. So you have some pretty neat little features in here. Enable students' names to autofill. That's if they're signing in with Google or whatever. I just usually leave that one off. This is the big one. This is huge right here. It's the immersive reader. It's in beta right now, but it's a great tool. So I want to make sure you guys turn that one on. And then, so like when I showed you guys how to use those notes, I actually had to enable student notes. So it's a setting in here. If you want your kids, if you've got older kids and you want them to be able to do some note taking, I would turn it on. If you've got little kids like K2, I would just turn that off because they don't need to be taking notes. And then there's some few other things in here as well. Show quiz and multiple choice question results. When kids are doing a student paced, you might want to have that on so they get that feedback. Allow kids to resubmit answers when they're in a live participation mode. That's up to you. So there's a couple different things here. There's also this enable the collaborate board for student paced lessons. And so this is something you might want to turn on, especially if you're having students do some of these self-paced lessons, either on their asynchronous days. Because then they can see other students' postings and they kind of feel like they're part of that community. So that might be something that you want to turn on. And then requiring student submissions. So this is like, you want them to take that poll before they can move on, or take that quiz or do the draw it activity before they can move on. So you'd want to turn that on. But the one I really want to focus on right now is that enable immersive reader. So turn that on. And then you can just come right back up to the top. This Nearpod, remember, whenever you click on this, it's going to take you right back to your library. So go ahead and go back to your library. Now I'm going to pop up a different screen. I want you guys to look at my screen because I have, oops, come here. In my Safari browser, I want to show you this. This is so cool. Let me pull this over here really quick. Now, the immersive reader only works with specific activities and features, and I can give you guys a list of those, but I know that in the draw it feature, and I think open-ended questions, I have to look it up, but there's specific activities, features where this actually works. So this is a draw it slide, okay? So this is the student view, and it's telling me to draw this, draw a situation which would make it difficult to make an object stop moving, and one in which it would be easy to make an object stop moving. So they have all their tools down here. It's a regular draw it, but right here, because I turned immersive reader on, this is a feature that they have now. So if I click on this, Now, again, I'm in the student view. It's going to read the directions to me or read the question to me, whatever kind of slide I'm on. And so if I just click as the student, I just click play.
Draw a situation in which it would be very difficult to make an object.
Okay, so it's going to read it to me. If I come up here, I have some options. And so if I can come up and I can do my text preference, maybe. It's spinning right now. The text preference is where you go in and you can choose a font style that's more preferable or the font size, that type of a thing. So let me see. We can get that to work. Well, okay, I'm going to go through. This is a lesson I was playing with. So I'm going to come to this draw it slide because I know the immersive reader is here. I think it's right here. Okay, let's try this one more time. So here's my preferences. So I can change, my text size. I can increase the spacing or decrease the spacing. I have a couple different fonts I can choose from. I can also choose like the backgrounds because some students like to read in different views, whatever is easier for them. So you've got that as well. This is great for our students that have, well, it's for anybody really, because everybody's got different preferences. So that's the text preferences. You come over here and you have some grammar options. So if you're doing something, you want to break things up by syllable for students, you can do that. You can also show different parts of speech if that's part of your lesson. And then you can also show the labels on here. So they would know that that's a verb, that's a noun. So that's pretty neat. This part over here is pretty cool. It's the reading preferences. And this will focus it by line or by 3 lines if I turn that line focus on. So that's really handy for kids that, have a hard time with some of that tracking. This picture dictionary is pretty nifty as well. When I go and I click on a word, if I have the picture dictionary on, it's going to show me what that is. And then I can play listen to the word.
Draw.
I can come over here. I can go to situation and it's going to show me, these different pictures if there's a way to show a picture. So that's a great support. And then lastly, there's this translate. So look at all of these languages. There's so many languages. So if I have a student who speaks, I'm just going to go Dutch. Okay. When I go and I click on this word now, it's going to show me the picture because I had it as the picture, but also gives me it in English and in their other language. So, you guys can imagine all of the ways that you can use this. So that's that immersive reader. Again, it doesn't work on every slide. It's specific slides. And I will, I'm sorry, I don't have the list in front of me, but I will get that for you guys so you know. Okay. So let me get that out of there. Let's see if I can get back to here. Okay.
And does that feature work on iPads?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All righty. So this, we are going to play around with how to build some of these lessons. So one of the things that I told you is that you can build lessons using what you already have. And when we talk about what you already have, it could be something from the Nearpod library. It could be personal files that you have, or it could be the Google Slides add-on, which I am going to go over with you guys in a little bit. So let's see, let's get over here. So I'm going to go through the slide deck, and you can either just watch what I'm doing in the slide deck, or you can be in your library and trying some of these things at the same time as I'm showing you. We are going to have some specific time set for you to work in your lessons, but if you want to kind of follow along by doing this in your library at the same time, you guys can do that. Completely up to you, whatever is more comfortable. All right. Okay. All right, so hopefully you guys have something in your library. I sent you guys another email just to make sure you had something downloaded. But let me show you. So if you go into your My Library and you scroll over any lesson with your mouse, you're going to see down at the bottom left-hand corner this edit. So I'll show you on mine. Oops, My Library. My library has completely disappeared. That's fun. But if I go into any of my lessons, I'm going to refresh really quick. Something's going wonky. Okay. So while that's happening, if you go to any, like here's a activity right here from the Nearpod library. If you hover over, you'll see that edit right there. Okay. When you click on edit, it's going to bring up an image that has all of the different slides on here. And then you can actually edit these. So I can come up here to the top. I can change the name of this. I can change some of the settings on it. I can add new slides here with stuff that I want to personalize it with. And then I can also double click on any of the activities to make adjustments to it. So let me show you this. So if I double click on this as an activity, it's an open-ended question, it looks like. But what I can do when I double click on this is I have the option to rewrite the question if I want to. You know, maybe the question's not quite what I want for my students. So I can make a little adjustment there. I can also add a timer here. I can add a reference. When you add a reference, you have some different options. You can add an image, a video, a PDF viewer, which we're going to talk about. Audio, this would be pre-recorded audio clip that you're adding in. Web content, or you can actually record your own stuff right there. So you can come in here and make some of those adjustments if you wanted to.
Tracy?
Yeah.
When I went in to open it up, we're supposed to duplicate it though first, right? So it doesn't mess with the original.
So that's up to you. It's your choice. So you can duplicate it. I'm going to talk about duplicating, but you can duplicate it so that you've got the original one there that you can always go back to. And then the one that you're playing around with and editing. That's also super handy if you do want to make a couple versions of them to meet the needs of specific kids in your class. So you can make duplicate it and add a couple adjustments here and there. But yeah, that's a good point, Stephanie. Thank you. When I'm actually on a slide and I right click it, I have this option where I can copy it or I can paste it. And so, when you're in a lesson and you see that this orange box is around it, that tells you that that's the one that you're working on. And so I can right click, I can copy it. And so I might use this if I might have two different Nearpod lessons up. and maybe I want to copy slides over to other ones. I can literally copy and then go to the other Nearpod and paste it in, which is kind of nice. Okay, let me see where we are here. This is kind of the overview, and I'm going to go back, excuse me, and give you guys a chance to do this. So we can add content to our lessons, and we're going to do this in a few minutes. So this is what like really brings your lessons to life. Takes those flat two-dimensional lessons and makes it really interactive. And then we're going to add activities, and this is what really engages your students, and this is also where you get your data. This is like your formative assessment stuff, because anything that you put that's an activity, you're going to get that saved for you to go back and look at that later. And then, you know, after you're done playing around with your slides, you just click save and exit. So here's that duplicate thing that Stephanie was talking about. So when I come to a lesson here, oh, that's why. Let me get back into my library here. Is everyone doing okay so far? Okay, good. All right, so there we go. That looks a little bit better. So when I come into my library, if I come up to these three dots right here and I click on it, I have some of these options here. One is to duplicate, and that's exactly what we were talking about. If you want to make a couple versions of the same one, you can duplicate it right here. You can also delete, you can see reports. You have some other options here as well. So that's the duplicate. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing, the second option, so that was taking something from the Nearpod library and editing it. The second option that you have is creating your own Nearpod lesson. So you're able to import your own files, and this is where you can take resources that you have and build it directly into Nearpod. And so again, when you start at your Nearpod homepage, you have two different places where you can go and start creating your lessons. So at the top right, you see plus and new. Let me see, I'm going to show you right here. So I can come up here to create, and I can create a lesson right here. I can also come over here to create and create a lesson as well. The Google Slides part we will talk about in a few minutes. Go back here. So that's where I would launch that lesson to start creating it. Now, when I open that up, it's going to give me this blank kind of template, and it wants me to add a slide. And so you can bring in images, PowerPoints, PDFs, all these different types of files, and upload them directly from either your Google Drive, or this would be your local files on your computer. If you're using Dropbox or OneDrive, that would be that as well. Now, this is really cool. So if you want to upload PDFs, you can upload it in two different ways. One is the PDF viewer, and one is as individual slides. So if I upload it in the PDF viewer, it's going to be one slide that you can scroll up and down. So if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pages PDF, it only comes up in one spot, and the kids can scroll up and down through it. Or I can do it as individual slides, which means it's going to take all 3 pages of that PDF and put them each on a different slide. And so depending on what you want kids to do with the PDF would determine which option that you would use. And so if I were to use the individual slides, I would use that if I was trying to maybe turn that into a draw it slide so that I can collect some student data. So maybe on this PDF, one of the slides is the first page of some text. And if I have that PDF and convert it into a draw it, which is easy, I'm going to show you how to do that. I can have kids annotating on that, highlighting, taking notes. And so they'll have that. And I will also see that what the work that they've done as well. So you have to kind of think about what your purpose is for that PDF. Okay, so let's continue here. So then when you're done, you've uploaded your files, you just go ahead and you click on OK. And it's going to show you this little message that your file's processing. Basically what it's doing is converting your files into the Nearpod. Okay, now there's this great new tool, and some of you have already discovered it, but it's the Google Slides add-on. So you can actually build your lessons directly into Google Slides and then upload it into Nearpod, or you can just upload a Google Slides as well. So the benefit of using the Google Slides is that if I create my presentation and I've got, all my slides, and I convert it over into Nearpod or upload it into Nearpod, if I find that, oh my gosh, I made a typo on slide 2, I just go back into my Google account, my Google Slides, and I change it right within my account. And it automatically updates any of those changes to the Nearpod. So that's super handy. You don't have to go in and save and redo and all that kind of stuff. So to do this, and I'm going to show you guys how to get the add-on. Again, you go up to those corners where you can find the place where you can create a Google Slides, or over here, create a Google Slides. So that's how you would start that. And then once you get in there, you open that. I'm going to show you what it looks like real quick. So I want to start a new Google Slides. I'm going to click on here. It's going to take me to Google Slides. It might ask you to log into your Google account the first time so that you're synced. And then this just shows me right here how I would use it. And so basically this is like my first slide, and I can delete this slide, whatever. But basically what you're going to do, and again, we're going to do this together. Once you get your presentation made the way that you want it, so like maybe, and I get rid of this slide here. I make my entire Google Slide presentation. I come over to add-ons and I go to Nearpod. I can open Nearpod from here. And then what this is going to do is going to show me all the different things I can do to add into my Google Slides. So I have access to these different activity type things here. So I just kind of wanted to show you what that looks like. We're going to go back to that, but that's what this shows you, is that you just go to the add-ons, and I'm going to show you guys how to get that in just a second. Let me get over here. Go to Nearpod. This is what I just showed you. So once you have done your Google Slides and you open it with Nearpod, you just save it and go to Nearpod from here. Okay.
Tracy,
Yeah.
So if you were to create your Google Slide presentation in Slides from your drive, and then upload it to Nearpod and add activities that way, if you edited it in Slides again, would that upload too, or does it have to be created with the add-on to do that?
That's a good question. I want to say that it would automatically update it because it's that live Google. So you're talking about if I do a Google Slides and then I upload it using that Nearpod add-on and I'm changing in Google Slides, then yes, it works. But if you just upload a Google Slides presentation into Nearpod, is that what you're asking? Did I lose you, Catherine?
I asked too hard of a question. You froze.
That happens. Okay. So I hope I answered that for you.
I didn't actually hear the answer because you froze.
Okay. So I think that I'm going to actually stop my video. Sometimes that helps. So if I'm in here and I'm creating my Google Slides and then I go save it to Nearpod, then anything changes I have to make, I just come back to this Google Slides and I can change it. So what I'm wondering is, are you asking if I'm actually in Nearpod and I'm just uploading a Google Slides and I need to change it, will it convert? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I made one for this week and I made my Google Slides in Drive because that's how I know how to do it. And then I just uploaded it into Nearpod. And so I just wondered if I was to do that again, would I just edit those slides in Slides again, or do I have to go through this way that you're showing me for it to automatically?
I don't know. I don't know if it
We'll have to
works
try
that
it.
way or not. But I would recommend from now on using the add-on and doing that because I know for sure that works. And Carrie's probably Googling the answer for me right now because that's how she works. So, okay. This is the immersive reader thing. That's the other thing, is that it works when you're in, if you have something in Google Slides, it will work with that immersive reader as well. Okay. So, quick poll for you guys. And I want to know what you guys are thinking here. So take a minute. How do you think you're most likely to prepare your lesson for your students? Are you not sure? Or do you think you're going to build one in Google Slides because you're comfortable with slides? Just go ahead and give me a couple answers here. Just curious to see. So we've got quite a few different ways here. That's great. It's so nice that there's, and what you'll do is what you'll find is you get in there and start doing it one way. And then you're like, oh, I want to try it this way. And it's nice that there's different ways to access this. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. So now I'm going to model a couple things and then I'm going to set you guys free for a little bit. So let me come back here to my library. So I want to remind you what it looks like when you're editing from the Nearpod library. Okay, so I'm going to just come over. This was a lesson that I pulled up, Newton's laws of motion. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hover over it and I'm going to go to edit. And then it's fine. I just going to ignore that because I had a live lesson going with it. And I just want to show you guys what this looks like here now. So now I'm in my edit mode. And so this one is pretty much done. I kind of looked through it earlier. It aligns with my standards. It's got activities that I like, but I do want to do a couple things just to elevate it for my students, or I might even add a couple accommodations. So for example, I'm going to come over to this essential question right here. And to access this slide, I just double click on it. It's got this orange box, so I know that's the one that I'm working on. All right. Now, so this is my essential question. And what I want to do now is I want to add audio for this because I have students that might not be able to read all of this. If I come down here, there's this audio symbol right here. So I'm going to click on this. And this is where if I already had an audio file, I would just connect it, but I want to just record directly into this slide right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit audio recorder. And it's going to ask you the first couple times if you want to allow your microphone. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to hit my, hold on. Okay. And I'm going to start my recording. How can we use physics to describe how things move? And I can play it to see if that's what I want. How can we use physics to describe how things move? How can we okay, that's enough. So I can either delete that and start over, or I can go ahead and save it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And you can see right here, it's uploading. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hit save and exit. It's gonna take me back to my, all my different slides here. And so what I want to show you, what's kind of cool is when I look back at these slides, I can see that this has an audio file in it because it has this little black line right here. So imagine just adding audio to your slides, how much that can support students, especially when they're learning at home. So really kind of a neat thing. The other thing I want to show you is that I'm going to come over here to this draw it, because I want to look on here and see what I can edit on this one. So, you know, different slides, different activities have different things that you can edit. But I can come over here, I can add a timer to this so that when students are working here, you know, maybe I only want to give them 5 minutes to do this. I can come over here and I can add a timer, and you just come in and, you know, put how long you want. I'll do 3 minutes. And I just add that. So as soon as this slide goes to the students, it's going to automatically start counting down for them. I can also come over here and I can add media, video, or audio instructions right here as well. So I can click on this. And if I just want to put a picture here, you know, to kind of spice it up a little bit, I can go to image. And if I don't have one to upload, which I could just do something. It's going to give me a Google search. And maybe I just want to put this little picture up in there to give them a reference to something or whatever that is. The other, and I can trash that if I don't like it. I can also add a little video right here. This could be one of my Screencastify videos, just a quick little 1-minute tutorial on what we're talking about. The PDF viewer audio, this will be a pre-recorded. I can also add something here as well. The other thing I can do right now, the students are just going to see a white screen. It's going to have the question and then just a blank screen. I can upload a background from here as well. So I can also, you know, just do a quick Google search, pick a background for them so it's a little more interesting for them. Okay, and then I would just save it. So I can go into this pre-made Nearpod lesson and update these slides so that it meets the needs for me and my students.
Tracy,
Okay.
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
If we add the timer and put like, if they're drawing something for like 5 minutes, what does it, I've never done that before. So what does it do when it runs out of time? Does it go automatically to the next slide?
What it does is it stops, it sends everything to the teacher so that kind of like the submit. So it's going to be submitted so the teacher can see everything at that point in time. They can
and they couldn't have access to it then anymore.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then if you add that thing in the corner, I've always just done an image.
Yeah.
You did a video. Do they have to click on it or how
they do?
Okay.
Yeah. No, they just click on it and it'll actually open it in a bigger screen for them so they can watch it.
Okay. How would they know would you like put that in your directions? Click on the video to the left?
You could, or you just kind of teach them that.
Okay. Teach.
Yeah. Like if you're in a live lesson, you're going to show them, hey, you can click on this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. And then, you know, I can save and exit. I can come and preview down here and kind of take a look to see what my, slides are looking like here. So I've got that option as well. And I just click the X there and then I just save and exit. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you guys was when we talked about creating your own lessons from scratch, or if I was in this lesson and I wanted to add my own things to it, I can do that as well. So where it said add a slide, so if I'm in this one and I want to add my own slides to it, I can add my own content. So I can come over here and add a slide and put in, you know, content from my core curriculum. I can add videos. I can add anything else I want to add in here as well. I can also delete any of these. So if for some reason I don't want this right here, I can just delete that slide and it'll get rid of it for me. I can also rearrange, just dragging things around. Maybe I want the video first. So you can rearrange this however you want. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of here and I want to show you how to, gosh, time is going way too fast, to create a lesson from scratch. The one thing I want to show you here is that PDF piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload a file, and I have a PDF in my desktop here. I want to show you. So this is a 2-page PDF. I can either, I'm going to upload it first in the viewer. And then I'm also going to upload it as the separate slides as well, individual slides, because I want you to see this little thing. And then I promise you're going to have a little bit of time to work. I fear very little time though. So it's processing down here. You can see that. So the PDF viewer, remember, it's going to put it into one slide and kids can scroll to the 2 different pages. This is going to put it into 2 different slides for me. Okay. So if I come to here, let me see. Let me preview it for you. So right now in this preview, see how I can just scroll. That's that PDF viewer. So sometimes that's really handy because that's what you want to do. This one now, this is the other version. I have got both pages each on a different slide. Okay, so why would I want to do it on a different slide? If I click on one of these pages, you see all of a sudden I get this convert to draw it option. So now if I want students to interact with this PDF, I would click on the convert to draw it, and it's going to say, I'm about to create one. Do I want to keep the original slide? No, I don't, because I just want the draw it slide. So now when students come to look at this, they can actually interact with it because it gives them their drawing tools. So let me show you. So this is the one where we're scrolling. It's just the PDF viewer. But now this PDF has these drawing tools. So now I can come in and I can, you know, I can highlight things, I can write things on here, I can draw things on, I can interact with this text. And everything that the student is doing on this page is being sent to me for me to look at as a formative assessment. So I will have this data as well. So that's why you would consider doing that with a PDF. All right. So what I'm going to do here, save and exit that. It wants me to name it. I'll save it. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is I just want you to go in, take a couple minutes and look at the lesson that you took from the library and go into edit mode and just kind of see some of the things that you could do with that. Maybe try to upload a new document in there, a PDF or something. Just 5 minutes just to kind of play around with that. And then we're going to come right back. Okay, so go ahead and play with that. Ask us any questions that you have along the way. I'm going to start my timer. Yes.
So I see how to upload the PDF in the PDF viewer. How do I upload it? What to put it in the slide?
Right. So let me show you. Oh. So let me show you this. So when I'm going to upload it this time, I'm going to upload individual slides, right? And then if I want to change it so that it's a draw it, it's going to take a second. But what I do is I click on the slide here and it's going to give me this convert to draw it option.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so if I click on this, now this pops up and I can convert it to that draw it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds. I'm not very generous with my time. I was really planning on you guys digging in a lot, but there's so much to cover. And we do have one more session, so that's helpful as well.
Hey, Tracy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go into my Google file, but it doesn't allow me to open up like a specific folders.
You're going into your Google Drive?
I mean, my Google Drive, yeah.
And it won't let you access your folders. I wonder if
I'm like, so let me cancel this. So I've got my slide and I clicked on the slide. I decided to go for a PDF viewer.
Okay.
I want to pull something. Now, what if I just want to grab a I guess a PDF, and it comes up a new window and it says select file, but it doesn't give me my folders to go to pull from.
I don't know what's happening with that, Stephanie.
Okay, I'll play around with it. It's not a big deal. This is kind of, this has been the day.
It's been a busy day, I know.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I
Okay.
just sit around and play around with it.
Okay. You can always email me too and we can look at it.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. So one thing I want to do with you guys is make sure that you have the Google Slides add-on. So what I want you guys to do is go to your library and just come back to this main page. If you need to click on the Nearpod logo right there to do that. And then I want you to come up to create in the top right. And I want you to go to the Google Slides right there. If you haven't done this yet. You may have to log into your Google account, but I want you to see this page right here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to come over to Tools. Oh, sorry. No, you're not. You're going to go to Add-ons. And you're going to go to Get Add-ons. This is going to take you to the Google Marketplace. And up in the search, you're going to type in Nearpod. And I'm not going to click install because I've already installed it, but you're going to want to install that. Okay, so again, I was under add-ons and I went to get add-ons. Takes me to the marketplace and then I type in Nearpod. And when that pops up, I click on it to add. So now, whenever I'm in Google Slides, just plain old Google Slides, and I keep wanting to go to Tools. I go to Add-ons. I come to Nearpod. I open it in my Nearpod now. So this is just not even from Nearpod, but just in Google Slides. I can do that directly from Google Slides now. Okay.
Okay, I got a quick question. So I just did that and I went into add-ons and I have the Nearpod. Is there any, what do I click next? Drive add-ons or slide add-ons?
Slide add-ons.
Okay. It looks like it already installed. I don't know.
You might already have it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
This is Susie Wood, and it says kind of like installed over the top, like in ghost letters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing, right?
Yes, that means you already have it in your Google Slides.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so moving into, so we're learning how to take lessons from the library and then editing them out or creating from new and bringing our own curriculum in. So like that PDF viewer or putting it in the slides and making it a draw it, you can pull some of those PDFs from your core curriculum, from Wonders or from StudySync and put them into the Nearpod and make them interactive. So that is a great thing to know how to do. Now there's, we're going to add different kinds of content. So I'm going to show you this. Pretty nifty. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly because you'll have time to explore this on your own time. But we have different types of activities here. And so when I'm adding a new slide, if I'm in here, let me just get one of these up here. And I'm going to add my new slide. I have the option of adding content or activities. So the content is what we're going to look at first. So content, I can add just a regular slide. So if I click on the slide right here, it's going to look almost like a Google slide. I can add a title. I can put an image in here. I can put a background. I can change the layout. I can add, it's just kind of like Google Slides or PowerPoint. So I can add a, whatever I want it to look like right here. And then I add my content. So that would be adding just a slide. Okay. I can also embed a video with that as well. Vocabulary, we're going to skip over because we don't have vocabulary licenses, but we do have Nearpod 3D. So there's 3D objects you can choose from. You just click on, you can preview it, click on it, and add it to your presentation. So I can add my slide. I'm in content. I can go to Nearpod 3D. And maybe I'm looking at cells. I can click on that. I can preview it. And this is, where kids can go through and really kind of look at these things. And I can get zoom in. So you can look at these different 3D models that you can add to your lessons as well that are super engaging for kids. If you've ever used PhET, if you're like a science teacher, you can put in the PhET simulations. There's field trips, virtual field trips. So if you're teaching about some historical place, you can take your kids on a field trip there. If you want to go visit a museum, you can visit a museum. If you want to go look at the desert, you can look at the desert. So a lot of things in the field trip here. There's a graphing calculator. You can also add BBC video in here. There's a link for that. Sway, we're not using Microsoft products, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. A slideshow. So I can actually put a slideshow in that has like different images in it and add different pages to it. And then I can also upload video. So I can put something in, I can search for a YouTube video. I can drop in one of my videos I made from Screencastify. You have that option there as well. And same with audio. So I can upload audio files or I can do that recording like I did before. And then the PDF viewer, we talked about that. And then web content. So if there's a website you want kids to go to, you just put the URL in there and then it makes it so that they can navigate to that while they're in that slide. So those are different content pieces that you can put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and have you guys do this really quick. Just circle what content feature you're most excited about. And you can see on my screen, I have the teacher view. So I'm waiting for these to be populated. And just circle something real quick and submit it to me. There we go. So I see summer in progress. This one's done here. I can see who's submitting. So as the teacher on my screen, I can see, and if I have names shown, I'm just gonna like pop it up really quick. I can see the names of my students and who has submitted and what their answers are there. So super handy. I'm moving on though here, just for the sake of time. I am not going to do that collab board right now. I want to show you guys the activities now. So we talked about adding those content pieces. The activities are where kids are really immersed in this learning experience. And this is what's going to give you data. This is going to be your formative assessment stuff. So taking you through here. It's the same kind of thing when I'm up here and I'm adding a slide to a presentation. I'm going to click on activities. So these are going to give me these different interactive activities that kids can do. Okay. So that's selecting the activities. Time to climb is really fun. I think we did it at the last one where you type in a question and then you put the answer choices and then the correct answer. And so you can add as many questions as you want. And then the kids are like competing to try to get to the end or the top of the mountain first. Super fun. It's kind of like a Kahoot type thing. It's a great way for kids to check their understanding and for you to see how they're doing as well, and then have fun and compete. The open-ended questions are in here. We've done those before. And again, I can add a timer. I can add media. The other thing I want to show you with the open-ended question, this is another great tool to add for some of that differentiation. So I'm going to go to my open-ended question here. And show you this. So here's, I can add the timer, I can add my media. I can also enable student audio recordings right here. So when I turn that on, now my students can either type or they can record their answer. And when they record their answer, I see it in that same teacher view where I see the responses coming through. It'll tell me it's a recording. And again, it's also saved to all my reports. So even if a student is doing this as a self-paced, asynchronously, you're still going to get that data and get to see that. There's a matching pairs activity, which is really fun to try out. There's a quiz. So that's, pretty straightforward. You put your questions and your answers. Flipgrid, if you guys have used Flipgrid or not yet, you do need to have a Flipgrid account. It's free. But what you do is you go to your Flipgrid and you create your assignment, and then you paste the links in here. So that's how you integrate the Flipgrid. The draw it activity, we've seen that. The collaborate board, we've done that as well. It's fun. You can choose different styles and have kids collaborate. You can do a quick poll. We've done that. You've seen that in action. And there's even a fill in the blanks as well, which is kind of fun that kids can do, and they can move things around. So that's kind of, let me show you what that looks like really quick as well. Let's see if I can do that. Add a slide. There's just so many neat things. So here's a fill in the blank. So I can choose my text style and I can type in my text. Oops, can't see what I'm doing here. Go to next. Click words on the right to add to the word bank. So then I can just kind of create this thing and you can move things around. So it's really fun. You have to kind of get in there and dig around. But a great activity for kids. They love that one. There's a memory test. So it's like the old cars, when you flip things up and there's a picture and you're trying to match another picture, you can use images, you can use words, you can do as many as you want. It's really fun. So those
Gracie, what was the difference, I forgot, between the memory test and the matching pairs? Is it just a memory test keeps, because I know that one's more competitive. It keeps track of how many times it took them to find it.
That's the matching pairs one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the memory test, I think, is just, where is it? Right there. So then that one, I think, this also keeps track.
That's what I thought. That one keeps track, but the other one, does it just flip them over and then you have to flip them back yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we talked about adding a timer and also adding reference materials to these different things where you can add an image, video. We talked about that. And then I'm going to go ahead and skip over this because I was just polling you guys, and a collaborate board that we don't have time to do right now. One thing I want to show you too is I thought this was kind of an interesting slide here. So some little shortcuts here. So you can personalize any slide with your voice. We talked about that recording. For teachers that are using Seesaw, the younger kids right now, you're used to kind of using that to describe what you want kids to do, the instructions, you know, giving them that type of stuff. And it's great with those little kids, but the older kids like it as well. And so you can personalize these slides in Nearpod and then add it to your Google Classroom. The time to climb is really, you can take a quiz and convert it to a time to climb activity pretty quickly. And convert any slide into the drawed activity. We showed you that. The matching pairs, the immersive reader, which is huge. And then, oh, they also have this for Google Slides. So when you're in just Google Slides, making your slides before you convert it over into Nearpod, you're going to want your page set up to that 4:3 ratio because it transfers over into Nearpod perfectly. So you're going to want to make sure that you have that set. I feel like I am just flying through this right now. Wow, 90 minutes. So I really had hoped that you guys would have time to build and work during this, but you're not going to. So what I'd like you guys to do is our next session is on accessing the reports and looking at the data and all that that has to offer. And I don't foresee that being 90 minutes. And so I think we can come back and kind of revisit how you guys have done in your Nearpod as far as adding some of those activities, some of that content, uploading your own materials, and kind of like really kind of talk about that at the beginning and debrief and share some of that stuff. So if you guys have a chance in the next, you know, week or two to kind of build some stuff, I think it'd be great for us to share out next week before we dive into the reports. So I just want to open it for questions right now. There's a collaborate board here if you guys want to type in any questions. Or you can just ask them. It's fine too. We got 5 minutes.
Is it normal for my uploads from Google Classroom to take so long? They have been saving forever.
From your Google Drive?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
How big are the files?
1 page. I have 2 of them that are 1 pages and the other one's like 4 sides.
That's not normal. I would probably refresh. It probably just needs a little kick there. Does anybody else have any like lingering questions, or is there anything in the chat box, Carrie, or?
I'm just trying to solve some direct messages I've received. Okay. Not right now.
Tracy, is there a, did you guys give us an update? Because after I signed up for this class, I got an email that said I was going to get some different options in my Nearpod. Was that just a coincidence? Did we get any specific access?
I think that was just a coincidence.
Okay.
They will email you, and because the district purchases certain content, like additional content.
Okay.
So sometimes you'll get messages like that.
An update.
Yeah.
And how many, do we have an unlimited number of lessons we can have in our library right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a lot to digest. I feel, you know, and when I was putting this together, I thought I was paced really well and I was going to have time for you guys. And there's just so much to show. So I apologize for not giving you more hands-on time, but yeah, there's a lot of great tools in here, great ways to interact with kids. And So I would just try like 1 or 2 things on and see how it goes. And then next time we'll look at the reports that come up. So anything else for the good of the order from anybody? If you have any questions along the way in the next couple of weeks before we meet again, please just email me, because I know this was quick and it was a lot of stuff. So email me and I am happy to troubleshoot with you or review something with you.
Is it next? I had it for the 10th. Am I off?
It could be the 10th, which is
Okay.
1 week away, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm losing my days and my mind just like everybody else. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you guys next week.